The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. So you've been a teacher, or you're a teacher now?
I am.
And you're like a nomad teacher.
Kind of, yeah. The dream. I never thought it was possible, but here I am.
Have you ever considered doing the virtual teaching, where you're just teaching people privately over some Russian or Chinese student?
I've done like a little bit of tutoring online, you know, like a lot of like rich Indian kids as well. But it's not really what I want. There's nothing like a good old classroom. Like, to me, that's what I want to be in and I want to stick to. And teaching online is just not the same.
Have you taught in India before?
I have, not as like a actual job. I did a lot of like kind of community service teaching when I was in school, and then whilst I was training to be a teacher, I went back to my school and did like a lot of placements there. So in that sense I have, but not since I've become a qualified teacher.
So tell us about your time in India and your community service. That sounds interesting.
I mean, so I went to an international school. It's literally called the British School of New Delhi, which follows like the British curriculum, and then when you get to kind of your last 2 years of school, we do something called IB, which is the International Baccalaureate, which they do in some schools here too. And as part of the International Baccalaureate, it's the A-levels equivalent basically. You have to do like 50 hours of community service to basically pass. And for that I did a lot of teaching in kind of in schools, but also in other areas. I also have taught in like hospitals and places like that. But I remember when I was probably like 17, I went and taught in this government school in the middle of nowhere in India, kind of outside Delhi. And I taught one class, and the age range in that one class was from 6 to 16. And there were like 20 students, so not a huge amount. But it was from 6 to 16, and I just couldn't understand what I was supposed to do with this class. And it seemed to me totally normal. And I remember thinking, I was there for like a week, not long, that, oh, I never want to be a teacher. Like, that is just the worst job anyone could ever have. And it just being really strange. But
how did you manage that situation?
I mean, I was like a 17-year-old girl. I was with one other girl as well. So both of us were kind of, and we were teaching English. So they all had a very basic level of English, so it was kind of easy in that sense. And we got the older children to help the younger children and things like that. But, you know, we were only in there for a few hours a day for a week, and I just thought...
You got your head around it, though, didn't you?
You did,
you got
but...
the older ones to help the younger ones.
Yeah, no, of course, there's ways around it. But for it to work all the time for all subjects, and... It was definitely hectic. Like,
was that because it was a small village and the community just threw all the kids together?
Kind of, but no, there were more classes. They didn't really have a system. It was almost as if the kids just chose which room they wanted to go into, and then the teachers just rocked up and taught them. And it is really sad because in India, like, I think the teachers are treated really badly, and that there isn't a proper system. Like, the education system is pretty dire. I mean, just there's no like funding, and teachers just come and go, and they don't really have that much training. And
is that a reflection of what do you call it, the caste system, caste system?
I don't think it's so much to do with that, more to do with like the government and how they deal with education. Even in like private schools, the teachers are just like, most of the children don't even go to school. They just like go to private tuition outside of school because the teachers just like don't even teach or want to be there. Or, I mean, this isn't for I don't know if this is everywhere.
It's your experience.
Yeah, it's what I've heard about and what I've seen. Yeah. But I would love to go. I was saying to my mum last month, like I would love to go and even just shadow a teacher in a school. Now that I am a teacher, because that was, way before, I would love to go and just have that experience of what it would be like.
So would you leave England and just stay in India teaching?
I don't think I would right now. I think at some point in my life I'd like to live in India again.
A teacher training school could be good for
I
you.
know. My mum always says, let's start a
You should
teacher
start
training together.
you-
No, definitely. I think all of these things are really interesting to me. I feel I'm still at the beginning of my career, and I still...
You need to have a school for a teacher training school anyway.
Yeah, and there is lots happening, and, they're trying to improve and constantly train and improve the system. But I would definitely be interested in it. I think not right now. As you said, I'm also a bit of a nomad, and I really want to be as flexible as I can be. But definitely it would be something I'm interested in doing in the future, and there's so much room for it.
What have you learned about teaching that you wish you knew when you started?
I think not to take things personally, which is specifically targeting children. I think I've become more resilient. I've had some pretty horrible experiences, and I think at the beginning...
What, with parents? Or
No, with both. More children than parents.
What age group do you teach?
I teach year 5 and year 6, so it's 9 to 11.
Okay.
I teach primary school, but always year 5 and 6. That's my area. And you wouldn't think, everyone's like, oh, so cute. Whenever I tell someone I'm a primary school teacher, they're like, how sweet. And I'm like, it's not sweet at all, thank you. I love it, but sweet or cute is not the word to describe it. And I think I just took things personally. I took bad behaviour personally.
The child didn't like you?
Not didn't like me, just was really awful. I took that
Maybe they're manifesting something from home.
to heart. It's always that. It's not personal, and that's what I mean. That's what I think I needed to take to build up. I think I've always been quite resilient, but I had just some bad experiences, and I think that is really important. Just to keep in mind that it's not about you in even the slightest. It's all to do with them and what they're going through. And I think to me the most important thing and the way to be the best teacher is to just build really positive, trusting relationships with the children and the parents. I think if you can do that, then you're going to have a lot more success. And
we hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.